The Denver City Council is considering a proposal that would give them and other city officials a over 10% pay raise. Council salaries would go from $83,000 to $92,000 a year, and the mayor's salary would go from $155,000 to $171,000 a year. The proposal passed the committee by a vote of 4-3 this week and will next head to the full council. Ed, there's usually never a great time for city or any elected official to ask for a pay raise, but a 10% or over 10% pay raise in the city of Denver, really fresh into a better economy, seemed like a stretch. What's your impression?
Well, you're right. There is never a good time to ask for it, and that's why you often see that whenever a government asks for a pay raise, it's usually fairly large because they've put it off for years and years and years. You know, if they were getting the same 2% pay raises that, you know, many American workers are getting, probably nobody would notice, but they're not getting them every year. They have to vote themselves in, so this is a 5 to 10 year thing. I think when you're looking at the mayor's salary, let's consider Denver has a roughly $1 billion budget, and if you're looking at the CEO of a corporation with $1 billion budget, they're probably making more than $150,000 a year. We ask the mayor of Denver to be a full-time mayor. There are only a limited number of cities in Colorado that do that. And if you're going to ask for this to be his job, it's probably not an unfair thing to say you should get paid like you were running a corporation. Not even in the same range, a little less, but, you know, like you were running something with a budget like that. So, you know, he's got to make that argument. And in fact, they've got to be really careful, though. If you can make that argument, you still have to make sure you don't get back into the discussion of, hey, let's add trash collection fees, because people are going to say, oh, are those fees going directly to pay for your kids to go to private school? You know, that's the kind of thing it's the perception you have to worry about here. Now, the interesting thing is the city council raises, because you all can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Denver is the only city in Colorado that has professional city council members. Everywhere else, they get paid, but they don't get paid as a full-time job. Right. And so that's a worthwhile question asking. Okay, is $92,000 a good salary for a city council member? Or should we be having full-time city council members as well?
Right. Gloria, they're looking for raises for the city council to be paid actually more than the Colorado governor. That's a whole different argument, but what did you think when all this news came out this week?
Well, I thought the silence was deafening from council members. I mean, I did. And I understand that. I understand the controversy because you are dealing with taxpayers who are saying a 10% raise. I mean, I didn't get a raise, you know. I mean, the speech that most employees, if you're lucky enough to be an employee, get well, you know, it deals with, well, you know, everybody's doing good and it's wonderful, it's terrific, but we got another year of tight budgets, which translates, don't even think about coming in my office and asking me for a raise. And so you look at 10%, no voter thinks, well, you know, it's been like 5 years since they got a raise, so this will be, okay, that's fair. We think 10%, you know, that's a lot. And so city council members, what I was reading were, you know, when they were asked about what's your take on this, what do you think, can you weigh in or give me your opinion, they were saying, we're going to wait and see how other council members vote, and we're going to, and I'm thinking, okay, the silence was deafening, and what I thought really was, okay, they don't need it, but they definitely want it, so they're trying to just kind of be quiet until it passes. And I don't begrudge anyone for going for what they believe they are worth, but I think when you are at the peril of the voters, you need to make sure that you explain exactly why you are worth that increase.
Patty, what do you think? 10% raise in Denver. I think a lot of folks are getting 10% raises this year.
I think $83,000 looks like a lot of money to most of the people working in Denver, Colorado. It's certainly far above the median income here. So it's going to be extremely difficult to sell this to voters who are going to be reelecting at least some of these city council people. So you can see why city council people who are running again might be holding back before they really talk about it. The mayor doesn't seem to have to talk about anything right now since there's no one running against him, but all of these issues will become a lot more controversial in the weeks to come.
David, wrap it up for us.
Well, I guess I would disagree with Ed that corporate pay is a comparable. I think corporate pay at the very top is way excessive in many cases. And besides that, I'm not sure if we had a merit pay system that Mayor Hancock's performance has been that great to give him a raise. But I also agree with Patty that $83,000 is already a lot for a job which formally says you have to go to a meeting every Monday night, which could take all Monday night, and then probably once or twice in the week you may have to go to a committee meeting, which will last a few hours. I would actually favor cutting the Denver City Council salary and giving the money to increase the salaries in the state legislature, where those guys for the 120-day legislative session work pretty close to round the clock.